The video you're about to watch has been designed to take you deeper, higher, and wider into Yahweh. Enjoy, and please subscribe. Thank you. Father, we just want to glorify, magnify your awesome, majestic name. We are reminded in your presence, Father, that you are in us, we are in you. That we live and move and have our being in you, Father. That we literally have the ability to step out of you and be consumed by Holy Spirit. And live and move and have our being in Him, in Holy Spirit. Just in its full capacity, as you've always destined for it to be, Father. As we step into the fullness of Holy Spirit, Father, we are reminded that it is righteousness, joy, and peace that we step into, Father. In the same breath, we live and move and have our being in Yeshua, Jesus Christ. We step into the Yad, the Hay, the Shen, the Vav, the Hay. We step into the fullness of the way, the truth, and the life. We step into Him, and we live and move and have our being in Him. And that's why when we step into you, Father, we step into the fullness of justice, judgment, and mercy. Yes. We step into all of who you are, the Yad, the Hay, the Vav, the Hay. As the three comes together, it forms the dimension of the fullness of God, that we are, as your creation, the only creation made and created in your image, Father. We become part of you. We become one with you as you've desired from the very beginning, as you said in the beginning, And that's the completely going around in full circulation. We get back to be in you. Yes, Lord. Tonight, that's that place that we want to abide, Father. We want to abide in you, my King. Forget about our problems and our issues and the things that we struggle with. That's not why we come to these meetings. We don't come to a church meeting to get healed. We come to a church meeting to get educated, trained, and sent. Yes. And so, Father, I ask tonight we will just open our hearts up for what you have. Bring us to a place of peace in you, rest in you. Let us understand who we are and operate outside of you. We do not operate within the earth as earthly beings, as human beings. Father, we are spirit beings, born from above. We live and move and have our being in you. We are legislators, and that means that we legislate the kingdom of heaven that we live in into the earth. We are aliens to this world, which means we do not live on this planet. My body is not my host. My spirit is my host. And so, Father, we are excited about what you're about to do in the kingdom of this earth. Father, that you've given us dominion and authority over it. We'll begin to understand what that means. But I ask, Father, you propel us to a deeper place tonight. We love you. We praise you, my King. You're so majestic and so beautiful. Amen. Okay. How you guys doing? Good. I'm really drunk. I don't know. Oh, it's so nice to know what I'm doing here. And I was just fine until I got you. Okay, so I usually don't do what I'm going to do tonight, and I actually don't want to do it, but I think the Lord told me to do it, so I don't know if He's just trying to aggravate me a little bit. Let me do things that He knows I don't like doing. Why I don't like doing it, I really can't tell you, because I actually love doing it, but I actually don't like doing it, because it used to be a major part of my ministry, but I didn't read it on my scroll, so I stopped doing it. I didn't stop doing it completely. I would still prophesy and minister to people after the meetings as God leads me, but it wasn't on my scroll, so I didn't want to do it in meetings, like, preach a message and then get everybody to stand around and prophesy over them. Yeah. I don't want to do that anymore. But what the Lord has shown me over the last couple of years is different ways of doing it. Some prophesying, what He has opened up to me in the Spirit, is the fact that we as sons and daughters of the Most High, we live in the Spirit realm. Now, if you either believe this or you don't, I actually don't care. Yeshua never operated in the gifts. And we don't understand that, because if we look at what He did, He had words of knowledge, words of wisdom, He prophesied, He did all the things that we read according to the gifts of Holy Spirit and the Word. And so we would just naturally presume that He operated in these gifts. But many times you will understand when Yeshua spoke that He was literally in the Spirit. And the truth of the Spirit is that when you're in the Spirit, all things are revealed. All things are exposed. You cannot hide anything in the Spirit realm. It's exposed, it's open. Now it's also, there's no record or trace of sin. Yes. Because it's not the spirit realm that you think of. I'm not talking about the kingdom of earth spirit realm. That's where the ecclesia has been abiding and fighting for the last 500 years. And that's why we've gotten our backs broken and ourselves depressed and oppressed and depressed and suppressed and suppressed and all kinds of pressed. We've been broken, damaged. The gates of hell did prevail. Now that sounds really negative. I'm not a negative person, but that's the truth. The church has not gotten to a place where she's supposed to be. We are supposed to be the ecclesia governing the earth. But the earth is governing us. And I look at all the different religions we have. They say there's 21 paths to heaven. You know that? But how many of you understand, if there's 21 paths to heaven, it's a perversion of one original. But there's one God, there's multiple ways according to the earth to get to Him, and we have decided that we are one of the ways to get to Jesus. So that's what the world sees when they look at Christianity. Why? Because we are not governing the earth. Because if we, the ecclesia, governs the earth, then the earth will understand that there's no such thing as Taoism, there's no such thing as pantheism, there's no such thing as atheism. What is atheism anyway? There's no such thing as different denominations in Christ. There's no such thing as New Age. There's no such thing as Muslims and Buddhists and whatever else you have out there. Right? We begin to understand that there is one God and there's one truth.
Come on.
Now, if I get angry with what I believe, and it happens all the time, maybe not to you, but to me it does. And if it happens in the wrong manner, you will break away from what you believe originally and move to something new. Now that's what happened to Muhammad, and that's what happened to, not Buddha, Buddha's followers. Because Buddha was never intended to be a religion. How many of you know that? If you know his philosophy and who he was not ever intended for what he does or what he believes in to become a religion. It's after his death that they decided, oh, this is a good philosophy, let's make it a religion. And it was never his intention. And of course he was not fat, he was as skinny as a rake. And he lived off of 3 grains of rice and saliva. You know, so there's a lot of things that we need to understand, and I believe the Father wants to bring today's ecclesia, today's church, to a place of governance. And what I'm excited about, the last time we were here, I was sitting in that chair. It was a little bit different in arrangement, but I was sitting in that chair, maybe not that specific chair, and there was cars driving past, and the light of the cars would reflect in my eye while my eyes was closed. And so I was in the spirit at that time, so I opened my eyes to see what that was and realized it was just cars driving past. But when I stepped back into the spirit realm, I found myself overshadowing a region quite massive. But more than just Maurepas, it was Mobile, New Orleans, Maurepas, Baton Rouge, Denham Springs, Lafayette, all the surroundings, Hammond, Albany, Slidell, Mississippi, not the whole Mississippi, mostly just Picayune, maybe a little bit further out. And there was this massive circle. And as I looked up, there was excessive darkness over all of it. But of course, my understanding of darkness at this specific point wasn't God's presence. There was an authority that shouldn't be there, that was occupying space that He shouldn't have authority over. And as I looked up, there was this massive dragon, and quite a round form, looked kind of fat, just nasty looking thing, looking a little bit like a bat, a little bit like a dinosaur, like a those bird dinosaurs, pterodactyl, kind of a mixture between a bat and one of those things, and it was just nasty. It had horns all over the place, and it looked like it was holding onto a chandelier. I shared this last time that happened, but of course I went back into it and engaged a little bit more. And it was holding onto the chandelier, but eventually I figured it wasn't a chandelier, it was a crown that was on his head, and he was occupying a mountain. And then of course the order of things is to go into the different courts and to see what the Father wants to do, how the elimination of all of this needs to take place. Because once you've seen a dragon, you can slay it. He has no authority. He has no place in this atmosphere. He has no rights. And the rights that he has, he only has because we've given it to him. Any form of power that he carries, he only carries because the Son has given it to him. And so we need to obviously take back what belongs to us. And that's when you re-establish a mountain with the prince roaring angels and the establishment of the governments of the heavens onto it and over it, that things begins to change. So in this engagement, I saw these 12 light beings. So as I've already seen what's happening, and I basically took my sword after I operated or went into the courts, the Father showed me what to do. And instead of angelic beings being assigned to me, I was just given my sword. Now I have a specific sword. It's not the word. It's not what we read in the Bible. It's something that the Father gave me at a different occasion in doing something in the Spirit. The sword is a gift from the Father to me. And what I did with the sword, instead of the normal protocol, I just cut his stomach open, like I said last time, and all that was in him just fell out. And his diamonds and rubies and gold and revelation and insider knowledge and all the things that was stolen from this region over the last 500 years. Maybe less, but that's just a round figure I'm giving. And it just started raining all this stuff, and it's still, because I'm in the Spirit at the moment, and it's still just raining out all over this place, basically bringing alignment. But the lights that I saw flashing in my eyes, of course, was cars in the natural, but in the Spirit, there was 12 beings. And of course, my natural perception of these beings would be angels, but as the Father began to take me deeper into the encounter, I realized that it was not angels, it's actually mature sons in the earth. Men and women like me and you that's operating at a high dimension, that's established according to what's on their scroll, what needs to happen over this region. So as these 12 men and women was established around the circular form of this region and as pillars, this crown started coming down and descended upon this region. And the Father basically said to me that the governance of this region has been taken over. Now these men and women have literally waited for me to do what I needed to do. That's why we need to understand that our puzzles, this puzzle has to form and come together with everybody. I can't do everything, you can't do everything. We have to work together. That's why you can't think that I know everything and I can't think that you don't know anything. We have to understand that no matter what you think you don't know, you already know it because you've got infused knowledge. The infused knowledge you work with and operate with, you have to come to fruition with by engaging in the spirit realm. And so the understanding of what the Father is bringing into this region is to open us up for governance. So we need to start taking back what belongs to us. Right? And I believe the Father's desire for things is to begin to fall into place. And I know, and I've seen this in the Spirit, businesses are about to change, but unfortunately for anything to change, it needs to go through a major revamp. And revamp's not nice. I mean, if you look at what's happening here right now, they're busy breaking stuff down, they're busy building things up. You can't build something new without breaking something down. You know, so there's always something intense that happens before the breakthrough. There's always something overwhelming that takes place before the peace of the Father comes in. So as this governance has been established, you have to remind yourself that if there's governance established, then those who are supposed to govern has to start understanding their governance. So as the ecclesia, we need to understand who we are. We begin to operate as more than just Christians. You know, I was driving in the car and I was just thinking of the statement we made. We said that we are Christians, but there's a difference in the way you pronounce it. We are Christian, like many people are Christian, but not many are Christians, if that makes any sense. Meaning Christ-like, anointing of Yahweh, little anointed ones, yoke destroying, burden removing power of God ones, walking in the earth. Ones with dominion and authority, ones who operate as sons and daughters in the earth, that have already been in the heavens, that operate out of that fullness, bringing the legislation and the kingdom of heaven into the earth, understanding that God is not going to bring restoration to the earth. It's not His job. It is not God. It's not Yeshua. It's not His occupation to bring restoration to the earth. It was His occupation to bring restoration to the saints. To the ones in His image, and that's what He restored. He restored the image. So now the ones with dominion and authority. Now let me just quickly remind you of something here. It's quite interesting. The definition of dominion is sovereignty. So He's given us sovereignty over the earth. Now let me explain another thing, and it's just logic. If I have sovereignty as a God, and I give you sovereignty over a specific section, I no longer have sovereignty over that section. I'm not saying God's not sovereign over the earth, because He is. But He's not operating in His sovereignty because He's given us sovereignty over the earth. And His desire for us, He's sovereign over me, but He's not sovereign over the earth because He's given me that place. And as an ecclesia, or as a saint in the ecclesia, I need to begin to govern what the Father has given me to govern. I need to be able to understand that I have to go into the kingdom of heaven. Why did He tore the veil? For me to die one day and then only go to heaven? If Yeshua tore the veil, and the veil was in the place of the Holy of Holies. So if there's no more veil between the holy place and the Holy of Holies, that means that I can go into the full presence of Yahweh. I can live and move and have my being out of that realm and operate out of His heartbeat. So we understand that that's already what the veil did, and the ecclesia needs to begin to live out of that place. And once we begin to live out of that place, everything begins to fall into place. Now, according to your destiny, according to who you are, and according to what's on your scroll, there's certain things that you need to do. There's certain things that you need to occupy in and that you need to bring into the earth. That's why that puzzle has to fall in together. That's why, if you look at myself and my wife, It's crazy how opposite of each other we are. But yet how perfectly everything meshes in. We'll drive in the car and I will listen to the guy talking on the radio. And I'll say, did you hear him say what he said there? And she'll go, no. And then there'll be a song playing and she'll go, hey, did you hear what that song was? And I'm like, no. Because I listen to people speak and she likes music. It's just the opposite all the time. She was into heavy death metal and I was into the exact opposite of that. I don't know what that is. But I was just never really a musically inclined person. But we're the opposite in so many things. And that's kind of why it works. We've been together for 20 years, married for 15 years, and that's really, I mean, no, it's not that long. More people have been married for longer than that. But we still in love with each other. We're still growing into each other daily. It's just phenomenal because of the mesh, because things are fitting in. And that's exactly what needs to happen with the body of Christ. We need to remind ourselves that everybody can't be eyes, everybody can't be feet, everybody can't be hands, you know. Right. And of course there's certain body parts that cannot meet. You know, if I have something in my eye, I can use my finger to take it out of my eye, but my finger and my eye cannot meet. Because then I can't see. You know, my hand and my foot, my hand can help my foot with certain things, but my hand and my feet cannot meet, because then I can't walk. You know, there's just certain things that we need to understand. We need the entire of the body to operate in its full capacity, to do what each part needs to do to be a fully functional body. And that's why I believe in this time and seeing the Father wants the body to kind of just come together and have himself work all things out together and stop trying to get everybody to do the same thing. I'm not a revivalist. I'm never going to be a revivalist. I'm not going to lay hands on the sick, although I have many, many times, even still today, prayed for the sick and seen great miracles. Matter of fact, we've raised the dead 4 times, and this time I'm including the cat. So we've raised the dead 3 times, and I know it doesn't compare to the 40 that other men and the 170 that other people have raised, but it was pretty intense to raise the dead. It's awesome. I've seen phenomenal miracles because that was part of my previous ministry. But I cannot be a revivalist. It's not in me. I don't want to do that. Okay, and so we need to understand. And I don't want to be a pastor either. I've tried that, hated it excessively, overwhelmingly, but it was because it's not who I am. It's not what I'm destined to be. But there's men out there that are phenomenal pastors. There's men out there that's phenomenal prophets. You know, but we have to understand there's always a higher level. So I cannot stagnate in one position. And if the body of Christ begin to understand that everywhere that there can be elevation, there has to be elevation. So you say, well, if I'm an apostle, where do I go? Well, the apostle was never meant to be the highest pinnacle of growth. You can't stop at being an apostle. Right? The fivefold was only given to train and equip the saints. Now, the only reason you're going to be an apostle until you die is when you don't train and equip the saints, but you're trying to build your own mountain. Because then no one around you is going to mature except you. And everybody's going to pay and sow into your mountain, and you're going to be their covering, and they can only get to where you are. But when you begin to understand there's higher levels and deeper dimensions, then you understand the highest place for you to be is sonship. Becoming a daughter, becoming a son. And then from there is elevation in the kingdom of heaven, not in the earth. Because this is my womb. This is not my end destination. This is not even my beginning. This is my training ground. This is where I train, I form, I shape so that I can come out of the womb. And coming out of the womb is stepping into the kingdom of heaven. Because that's where I'm going to be spending eternity. Not in this realm that's physical. I'm going to die here if I don't stop skedaddling. Okay, so I don't know why I said all of that, but I guess there was purpose in all of that. How are you guys doing? Felt like I went somewhere and then my lips started talking and I came back now. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to ask you for your name, although I might know your name, doesn't matter. I'm going to ask you for your name, you can say your name out loud, and then I'm going to see what the Spirit wants to do according to what's coming out of my mouth. Okay? So I know Stephen in the back, I know his name, so I'm not going to ask him for his name. I know most of your names, but I know his name very well. He's one of my sons. Him and Ronnie comes to my Lafayette school. They actually run the Lafayette school. They're the ones that wanted it there. They're the reason I go there, and they are absolutely phenomenal men of God. I love them. He's our worship leader there, and he sends us and takes us deep into the kingdom of heaven. Thank you, Ronnie. We love you very much. Okay, so when I look at Stephen, when I prophesy, I'm not prophesying in a way that we are used to. What I want you to see it like is that I'm seeing things around his life that shouldn't be around his life, but should be inside of him.
Yes.
And the reason it should be inside of him, or it shouldn't be outside of him, it should be bound to him and propelled into him so that he can begin to live it in the earth. Now, if I look at you, you've been a man of God and you've loved Yeshua for a very long time. You've walked with him, you've done great things. And in your subconscious mind, you have even come to the conclusion that it is too late. That what you were meant to do and where you were meaning to go is not going to happen and it's full fruition for you because you feel that what you have felt in your heart the Father wanted to propel you into is almost too late. And I really, really, really just want you to understand that it's not. Because when I look at you in the spirit realm, there is an excessive amount of power and glory still to come. It's almost like if I look at your timeline, you haven't reached the pinnacle of where the Father wants to take you yet. You've been in a process where the Father has been training and teaching and equipping you. And yes, it's been delayed. But that does not stop the Father from propelling you into your right now. And He's busy propelling you into your exact right now according to tomorrow. He has looked at you through the time that you have loved Him and worked with Him. And He's bringing all of that to fruition even in the next 6 months. He's going to begin to propel you deeper and deeper into His love. I see Him allowing you to walk with many of the old saints because there's much that they want to bring into your life. I see the Father really just reminding you of batons and mantles that is to be yours, given to you by saints of old. Men and women that have walked the same road or similar road than you up to this point, that wants to trade into your life because they could not get to the full fruition of what they were destined to, but yet they want to help you get to the place where you want to be. And the Father is just going to begin to open doors. And it's not financial doors, but there will be a financial blessing and an increase. But the Father is going to open doors for you in ministry. The Father is going to open doors for you in revelation, knowledge, and insight. There's much that the Father still wants to pour into you, and you're so hungry for it. And so the Father says in the next season of your life, He's going to propel you into a dimension of revelation and glory. And you will find yourself operating from out of the heavens, and you will begin to understand the courts. I know there's been a desire of your heart, and the Father is going to begin to take you on that journey in your life where you'll begin to understand the courts. And in this time with yourself and Anne, He's just going to continually bless you guys, going deeper and deeper into the Spirit and showing you things that He's going to take you to a place in your life where you've desired to be. And it's according to desire that the Father is going to bless you, and you've had those desires all the days of your life. But it's beginning to increase because there's so much more revealed. Now, what I want to remind you guys, when I speak of someone's life, anything and everything that you listen to and like and desire, you can have.
Come on.
It is what happened in the Holy of Holies, stepping from the outer court from the holy place into the Holy of Holies. What the high priest had to do is he had to walk through the veil. When a high priest dies, his veil, his robe will be taken and sewn to the veil. Did you guys know that?
Yes.
Eventually the veil was very thick. I think it was like was that about 40 centimeters? I don't know, 50 centimeters. How many inches that would be? 20 inches, maybe 20 inches, 40 centimeters. An inch is 2.5 centimeters, so it'll probably about 25 inches. And so as he walked through the veil, I want to remind you there was no opening in the veil. There was a supernatural reoccurrence. So he would literally physically walk through it. Like if we could walk through the wall, that's what he had to do. He had to walk through the veil. It was supernatural. It wasn't something where he couldn't go past it. He couldn't lift it up either. It weighed about 400 kilograms, about 800 pounds. And so you need to understand that, just historic facts. And as he walks through the veil, what happens is he literally walks through every generation's revelation and insight, every generation's relationship and intimacy with the Father. So by the time he gets to the other side, he's gained all that knowledge, all that insight of the previous generations. That's one of the reasons why you never, ever, and if you ever have, rejoin it, ever want to cut off your bloodline. Right? And much of our discipleship and training, we've been taught to cut off bloodlines. So if there's something bad in a bloodline, something sickness, something disease, cut off the bloodline. But you have to remind yourself that you don't want to cut off a bloodline. You have the ability and the power to realign the bloodline and to fix it, because that's the authority that we carry. So whenever I speak about anybody's life, you can just jump in, because we are the body.
Yes.
I can't, if my toe experienced something, my whole body experienced it.
Yes.
Okay, we forget we are not the bride. Don't look at me with that tongue. We have never, ever meant to be the bride. We are only meant to be the body. And even meaning to become the body is not the highest place, because there's an even more deeper place, right? But the Father says, in the beginning, and of course the Hebrew culture is for the beginning to always be the end as well. So it always walks in that full fruition. So whatever was in the beginning has to be in the end. So if I'm going to be in him again in the end, I can't be the bride. Because the bride can't be in. Me and the bride can be one, but not really. You know, my wife's at home right now, and she's doing her own thing.
Yeah.
Right? She's got her own way of thinking, her own perceptions, own ideas. She wakes up late, I wake up early. I go to bed early, she goes to bed late. We're two different people, right? But my body is a whole different ballgame. My body can't sleep late, and my head starts walking around the house. But we are one. We are one. So my body has to do everything my mind tells me to do. And if Yeshua is the head and I'm the body, then I need to begin to understand the dimension of intimacy that he really longs for. So for me to come back to the one that he wants, being in him, I have to understand that I'm the body. And that changes things, right? So whatever is said for him can be taken and given to everybody in this room. I'm going to try and do this over everybody as much as I can, but the idea is, and has always been to kind of still minister in between as well, because what has been said over his life might be, because everyone in this room is here for a purpose, there could be much of the same things being said because of that which is in the room. The Father usually gathers people together that has very similar things, similar lifestyles. Now, you look at him and you look at me and you might think it's not quite the same lifestyle. You might look at Ronnie and look at her and think, well, that, there's not quite much of the same lifestyle, but that's not what it means. It's spiritual. Spiritual dimensions the Father wants to open. Spiritual places the Father wants to take. Everyone in this room is here for a purpose, and the purpose is to go deeper and wider into the things of the Father. Okay? It's Annie, hey? Anna. Now, this is on Facebook, and it's also going to be on YouTube. So if you want to record, you can, but you can also go back and have it there, but you can do whatever you want. Whatever is best for you, you can have it on your phone. I'm just saying, it's going to be available for everybody, and I want to not so much be a prophetic word as what it is, something that I've seen in Spirit, bind it to you and send it into you. Okay. So there's a lot of things that I know about you just according to the things that we've spoken of on Facebook, and of course just who you are. But when I look at you in the Spirit, the Father says that this time of your life is literally for trading. The spiritual being that you are meant to become has literally just started. The knowledge you've gained, the insight you have had up to this point, the Father is not shattering it away, but he is building on it in a dimension and a speed that your spirit will be able to receive and take, but your body is going to take strain. Your mind's going to take strain because the Father needs you in a specific place. So in the next 8 months, there's going to be extreme spiritual growth, but it can only happen to the extent that I see it according to your desire, according to what you push and propel into. Your quiet time, the stuff that you do alone when no one can see you, when it's you and the Father alone, where he gets to engage with you and you get to engage with him. I just see the Father beginning to have that light switch go on, and you just begin to understand things that you could never really perceive, you could never really understand. And as he begins to open up that doorway or the porthole of that insight into your soul, which is your mind, will, and emotion, things are just going to begin to accelerate for you. And I just see him propelling you deeper and deeper into the Spirit. His desire really is to get you to that place in your walk with him where you govern sections that's on your scroll. You might not have seen your scroll yet, but I see parts of your scroll, and I see extreme financial increase. I see your Father just blessing everything you touch. But it's almost like it's always been like that for you. You've had this ability in your walk to touch something, and it just becomes gold, and it's going to increase because it's a gift, and the Father has given it to you. But in the same breath, every idea you've had up to this point that you have not put in fruition, the Father is going to propel you to take those ideas and put it in fruition, because it's all from his heartbeat. It's all from his heart to bring you to that place financially where he wants you to be. The process that he's taking you on, the journey, it's all about you and your family, getting you and your husband to be even deeper and even closer together, knitting it together with an even greater dimension, showing you the power of that unity that you guys can operate from and work with, the desire that you have in your marriage, the desire that you have for your family, and the things that you want to come into fruition and to come into place that's not in place yet, that you sometimes stress because you're a bit of a, I don't know if you can say a worry pot, but you put all the pressure on yourself, you stress about everything, you almost get yourself into depression because of it, and it's really not healthy for your physical body, and especially for your heart. And a matter of fact, what I see according to a bloodline, and it's not in you, it's not for you, but in your bloodline there's heart problems. And because of your lifestyle, it will never affect you. But because of stress and because of the way you apply pressure to yourself, if you do not begin to take that rest in the Father, it can begin to affect you. And so over the next 8 months, the Father is going to begin to propel you deeper into a place of rest, where you will look at Him and the life that He's about to bless you with, and you will start stepping into that realm of peace, that shalom that He wants you to walk in. I see that just the Father bringing you to a place of absolute peace in everything you do, and of course that'll accelerate time, and it will take you out of a place where you have no time, because that's your main problem at the moment, is that you're just everywhere and you just have to do so much stuff that you don't have time for your family, you don't have time for yourself or anybody, and really that has always been the way you operate, because you're a busybody, you're everywhere. But the Father is going to get you to a place where you can still do all those things, but the amount of time it took you to do today will be lessened, which means you can do what you did in 8 hours in 3 hours.
Come on.
And that's just what the Father wants to do, is to engage and go deeper into Him. Okay, exciting, isn't it? Yeah. Just remind you guys, remind yourself that we're talking about a higher dimension of things here. I'm not trying to find things in your life like, okay, you have a back problem and you've got knee problems and you've got elbow problems, and your birthday's on the 26th of February. And that's nice, that's gifts of the Holy Spirit, and I'm not operating out of the gifts. It's really just what I see in the Spirit. And so I want you to understand that, and not feel that you have to prophesy, because I'm not prophesying. Really, I want to teach out of what she just received. I want you to understand we are the body, and that you can take off that. Yes. You know, there's so much stuff in my bloodline. If I look at my father died of cancer, my mother, my mom was she was in a car accident when she was 21 years old. She was in pain. Her mother died at a young age of organ failure. My mother died of organ failure. It's just the process. You know, my oldest brother, my father's bloodline, all the oldest sons died. So his father died at a young age. His older brother died at a young age. Then my father's oldest son, my brother, died at a young age. And that's bloodline stuff that I had to realign. Yeah. You know, and of course that's in all of us. You know, there's all kinds of stuff in all our bloodlines because of what our forefathers and our parents and their parents did out of ignorance, spitefulness, stupidness, whatever you want to call it, you know. And so we need to remind ourselves the Father's desire is to bring all that stuff back into full governance. Because we have the right and the power to bring these things back into play. That's why I give you all authority. All authority of what? You know, it gets authority over the things that was, is, and is to come. Right? Because that's the image that we are created in. He is all of that. He's that consuming fire. And of course, fire always represents revelation. And He says that my people die because of a lack of knowledge. So His desire for us is to have a knowledge and understanding and revelation of who He is and who we are in Him. And we'll be operating and flow out of that. What is your name?
Anthony.
Anthony? Okay. Anthony, you actually look like a friend of mine. And he's a funny guy. He sat with me the other day in the gym, and you know, I've been training for like 30 years of my life. And so when you train, smelling nice is not really your option, right? Yeah. It kind of stinks most of the time. It depends. In essence, I guess, you know, if you're healthy, your sweat doesn't really smell too bad. But I'm sitting on this machine and I'm kind of in a sweaty puddle, and he comes and sits next to me and he says, I don't know what it is about you, but you smell like heaven. When I sit near you, the smell that comes to you, I'm thinking, what smell is that, dude? Because let me tell you, what I'm smelling right now is nasty. But before he even came, I was engaging in the heaven. So he experienced and felt something there. Like a spiritual smell that was released. And I wanted to say that because when I first saw you when I came in, the Father was kind of telling me that's the kind of thing that you're going to be doing. It's releasing a smell. That sounds terrible. I've got some kids in my house that release some smell. I mean, it peels the paint off the wall. Right? But because of your heart and what you still desire, maybe not exactly where you're at right now, maybe not exactly what you believe and what your understanding is, but the Father is about to propel you into a dimension of who He is that's going to blow you away. I just see the Father showing you and revealing to you the mysteries and the secrets of His heart. You've grown up in a household that is very religious, that has a great understanding of the things of God, but you have never pursued it in the measure that He's desired for you to. So as I see these doors open in the Spirit and the Father beginning to pour into you who you designed to be, who you are created to be, I just see the smell coming off of you. And it will be a fragrance that will bring great joy to the Father. It will be a fragrance that will change lives. Now, I'm not saying that you're called to be an evangelist. As a matter of fact, if I look at you, I would rather say that you're called to be a leader of leaders. If I look at you, I would say that the Father has given you the ability to direct people into a position and they will follow you. Just because of the manner that you have, because of your father and because of his father and who they were and who they meant to be. They might not have walked in full fruition, maybe with a lack of full understanding of who they are. They might not have gone into the full position they were destined to be. But you're a different generation. You are not to cut that bloodline. We are to literally align that bloodline so that you can be propelled into the position that the Father is destined for you. Because the next 3 months of your life is crucial. The Father is literally taking you and is beginning to show you who you are. Because you have been... No one knows you. I know that sounds terrible, but you've gone through a phase in your life where you couldn't really trust people anymore. And so you look at people and you're not too impressed most of the time. Matter of fact, for someone to impress you, they have to blow you out of the water. And it's just because you've been hurt so many times. And so you basically build a wall around your heart. And so I believe in the next 3 months, the Father's going to break that wall down. Because it's not just that you can't trust them, it's that you build a wall around your heart so nobody really knows you. You only show very small portions of who you are, and no one can really get the beauty of what's really inside of you. I mean, outside you're a tall, well-built, good-looking guy, but on the inside, that's where the real true gold is. And that's what the Father wants to come out. That brokenness in your heart, that damage that the enemy has caused over the years needs to get healed, needs to be sorted out so that you can be propelled into the place that He wants you to be. Now, being a leader of leaders means that there's going to be people coming to you that's of great stature. And they're going to see something else. They're not going to see a young man. They're going to see someone in authority. They're going to see someone with something that rests upon him. That smell that you release. That dimension of the Father that comes out of your eyes, comes out of your ears and your heart. They're going to see it. And it's going to be over you. And that's going to change a lot of things. Now, you have a lot of business ideas as well. Matter of fact, you are called into the business world. You guys have business together, am I right? And so, you don't? Okay. You don't? What do you do?
I work in a chemical plant.
Okay, and what do? You're the personal trainer? Okay. So what the Father wants to do is He wants to show you the things that's in your heart. And as I see it in the Spirit, it's like all the ideas that you've had up to this point that hasn't come to fruition, the things that you have not put on paper, the things that you thought won't work, or the ideas that you had and people have just shut you down. You need to begin to put that onto paper because the insight the Father has given you, the wisdom that comes through what the Father has given you is meant to align things and to change things for you. And this is the season for all of that to happen. This is the season for all of that to fall into place and begin to run according to what the Father has destined for you. And I believe the Father is going to begin to show you what's on your scroll. So in the next 3 months, I would urge you to listen to messages and to engage this. Because as you start going into the kingdom of heaven, because it's revelation, it's not something you have to wait for 3 years before you can get it. It's just revelation. It's like, you might be too young to understand that over the top. The arm wrestling movie, he said, if I turn his head around, it's like a light switch that goes on. And it's kind of like that. It's just going to be a light switch that goes on. You're just going to have the revelation. And then once you go in, the Father's just going to start showing you exactly who you are. And He's going to start propelling you into that place of fruition. Okay? I want to remind you guys that your destiny scroll is key to everything. And it should be your desire to run towards it as often and as hard as you can. And also remind yourself, when you get to your scroll, it might not be a book, but even if it is a book, even if it's a scroll, it doesn't matter. If you open a scroll, you can only see a small section of it. You can only focus on a small section of it because there's so much written on it. You can't open the whole scroll and see the whole thing at the same time. With a book, You can't open a book and see more than 2 pages at a time. You can't read more than 2 pages at a time. You know, it's just a slow progress that the Father wants us to find ourselves in. So when the Father starts showing you things, it's your responsibility to put all your focus on what was shown, all your focus on what was revealed. So for me, 4 years ago, the Father showed me my first 2 pages. I might have turned a page, might be my first 4 pages up to this point. And this is where I'm at. This is my focus. The Father has increased my desire, has increased much in my life to get to where I am today. And it's not really where I wanted to be. You know, financially, it's not where I want to be. In ministry, it's not where I want to be. There's still a process for me to go deeper. And it's not about these schools. As a matter of fact, it's about deeper intimacy with Him, getting to know Him, love Him more, spend more time with Him, be in a deeper place in the Spirit. But it's all about finding your destiny scroll, reminding yourself who you are. Because we forget who we are, and we forget who we are because we are busy with other stuff. And we were taught subconsciously to separate our Christianity or religion with everything else we do. So I'm only a Christian on Sundays, and one Monday come, I just keep running with the things that I always do. But the Father wants you to incorporate everything that you do with your faith, because that's what aligns things and bring things into full fruition for you. Because there's a lot of things that needs to fall into place. Many of us do things for years without really finding out what our actual purpose is. Once you find your actual purpose, you realize everything I've been doing up to this point that was not part of my purpose was just a waste of my time.
Come on.
Yes. And that's not nice. No. Right? Okay. Reggie. When I look at you, I see somebody that has extreme insight and wisdom. And I see the Father really wanting to align the things you know in the natural with the things your spirit has already engaged. Now, you might not have engaged or experienced the kingdom of heaven in the measure that I've taught up to this point, but your natural capacity of engagement, your focus on things that you do in the natural is extreme. It's almost like you have ADD. If you focus on something, you don't hear or see anything else. I guess that's kind of a man thing, but I really just see the Father is going to shift that ability into the kingdom of heaven, because there's extreme amounts of insight the Father wants to relate from your spirit to your soul. And it happens in soaking, it happens in quiet time. And I believe that the Father will, in the next couple of months, give you time where you have to focus on what's happening in your spirit. Because the Bible does tell us that you're seated in heavenly places. In Christ Jesus. So you are already there, whether you are trying to get there or want to get there. The fact of the matter is you are seated in heavenly places, which is the third heaven, the kingdom of heaven, where the Father is on His throne. That's where we are. That's where we are daily as a spirit being. And as a born again, you have the ability to engage that realm and understand what the Father is pouring into your spirit. And your spirit has the desire to sync with your soul what He's been doing. That's why soaking is so important, because that brings things into fruition. Your soul begins to understand. Once your soul begins to understand the things your spirit's pouring in, it affects your body. In the same breath, I believe that over the next, I see about 12 months, the Father really just taking you financially to a higher position, a new place. It's something you've kind of desired, because you look at your age, you look at where you're at, how long you've been with a company, what you desire, and you feel that there should have been more. You should have been at a higher place, and you're not there. The Father says that your time is coming, and the person that you are is going to be propelled. He's going to propel you to a higher place. I don't know whether where you work there's place for promotion. I don't know if you can go higher, but I just see the Father elevating you at the place where you're working. So whether it's the place where you're working now, or whether it will be at another company, I don't know. But what I see is the place where you will be working, where you'll be elevated in, and the elevation will bring a greater financial blessing. And I know that there was something stolen from you, something you truly loved, and where you are now is not exactly where you want to be. So it's almost like the Father is going to open a door to get you back to where you really want to be, and then start propelling you in that place. And then I just really feel the Father is going to continue to open doors for you, because there's actually a great dimension of favor in your life. Favor saying that the Father has put upon your life certain things that draws other people. And everywhere you go, it's almost like people see you. And I'm going to say something, and it might sound a little bit bad. Not that there's anything special, about just who you are. I mean, you're a tall, dark, handsome young man. That's not what I mean. But in the spirit, there's something that you carry. And it might not even have been something in the spirit up to this point, because even if as I speak it feels like I've been releasing that over you, because men has looked at you, woman has looked at you in a certain capacity, but after today, it's like that favor that's come over you, that favor that's opened up the door is going to propel the Father to align something in your being that's going to make people look at you in a whole different way. And it's really to propel and to bring things into fruition for you, according to who you are, what the Father has destined for you personally, individually. And you'll see that as all these things start falling into place, there'll be a growth in your spirit, because the Father is going to look at all the things falling into place. You're going to see what I've said and how it aligns, and you're going to go, I want to go deeper into these things. I want to find the Father at a new height, and I want to go deeper into His heartbeat. You know, many times in our lives we forget that the Father's desire is always to bless.
Yes.
You know, and if you're not in a place where you can be blessed, then move.
Yeah.
You know, we're always afraid to move. We're always afraid to take the next step. I was in a nation where I could not be blessed. Now, there's other people in the same nation that's excessively blessed. Now, I did not want to move my nation. Let me promise you something. I love South Africa. Matter of fact, it's the highest tourist destination in the world. People love going there. It's beautiful. But there was nothing there for me. Now, I say that, don't misunderstand. My children's grandparents, my parents-in-law, my sisters there, my sister's kids are there. There's all my family. Everyone I love and know is there. So I didn't leave because I didn't have any of that. I left because the Father called me to. But the Father made a statement to me. He says, where I want to take you to, I want to bless you.
Come on.
Good.
And I had to make a decision. I could stay and it would still bless me, because we were always blessed.
Yeah.
You know, we've been in full-time ministry for a long time, and full-time ministry is not what most people understand. There's no insurance. There's no financial assurance. There's nothing like that. Everything comes in by faith. You know, I don't have someone saying, well, for the next 2 years, I'm going to be paying $2,000 into your account. There's nothing like that. It doesn't work like that. Maybe if you're a pastor of a church, or you have someone that pays a tithe into a ministry, this ministry doesn't have it or operate like that. It's always been done by faith. But the Father made a statement and said, if you do this, you know, if you move out, if you leave everybody you love, everybody, your entire family. Now, my mother and my father both passed away, but my kids are growing up without grandparents. And my wife's parents are phenomenal. They are one of the most incredible people you'll ever meet. So my kids are not getting that, but yet the Father made a statement to me in Genesis 3:12, I believe, where He even said to Jacob, Abraham, whoever that dude was. He said to him that if you leave everything you have and you move to where I tell you to, I'll bless you greatly, Abraham. And that's what the Father said to me, is I want to make you famous, but not in the manner that I thought. You know, the first time I got that scripture, I was a professional wrestler. We came and the Father said, I want to make you famous. And I thought, okay, great. So because He said that, we went on live television in South Africa, and we were on every Tuesday as professional wrestlers, and I'm thinking to myself, well, this is not quite the famous I wanted, but let's go with it, you know. And of course He said to me at a later stage, that's not what I meant. I don't want to make you famous in the earth. And I, to be honest, don't want to be famous in the earth. I want to be famous in my Father's house. I want to be famous in the kingdom of heaven. When I step into this earth as a spirit being, every demon needs to run.
Yes.
That's where the fame, I need to be known. And that's exactly what the Father said to me. You did what I asked you to do. You moved to where I can bless you. And I will begin to show you my favor. You know, and I really just feel that's exactly what the Father asked for you. I'm not saying you need to move from where you are. Don't misunderstand me. I don't think you want to go to any other country. This is a blessed country. But the Father is just saying, in your obedience to do what your heartbeat says, I will begin to bless you and propel you to the next level of faith of your life. Exciting, right? Okay. How you guys doing?
That's right.
Everyone's still alive. It's glad there wasn't more people. I remember one day the Lord said, I was at a meeting and we did a wrestling show at a church, big church, and there was about 1,000 people. And I told my boss that it was done on the stage, so there was no wrestling ring. Now, wrestling ring is designed for your safety. Outside, there's no safety. You fall yourself stupid. So I fall on my elbow and I tear the ligament off my bone and it tears up my tricep. And so it's pitch black. and I actually still preached for 45 minutes. And then I say, I make this mistake, and I say it was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake, but for my flesh it was. I say, okay, all the leadership, please come forward so I can minister to you. Probably at least 300 people came forward. I prophesied over every single one of them until 4 o'clock that morning. And got $100 offering. Now in South Africa, that's 1,300 rand, which is not bad. I know that sounds ridiculous. Now that I'm living in America, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know, it should have been $1,000.
Yeah.
The Father's desire for us has always been to govern His house, right?
Yeah.
It's everything He strives for, everything He wants to align in your life is to get you to govern His house, to be co-heir with Him, and to govern creation with Him. It's just His heartbeat. And so this time and season for us as the Ecclesia, we need to get to that place and run in the fruition that He has for us. Ronnie, you him and his wife, who came to me about 3 years ago. 2 years ago?
Yeah.
About 2 years ago, and I said that mainly his wife said to me that she would like me to father her. And of course they married, and so I'm not fathering him per se. He's quite a mature Christian. He comes out of a bloodline of very powerful men and women of God, and his spiritual father died a couple of years ago, and he was really maintained, and I would say maintained. He was disciplined and discipled by this man of God, and a great man in fashion and form. So when I look at you, I always get excited, because although I truly believe you have not stepped into what the Father has destined for you in any way, fashion, or form yet. You're a great singer, you're a great worship leader, but that's not it. That is not what the Father has for you. As a matter of fact, I believe that you need to begin to understand who the Father is destined for you to be, because the fear that's in your heart to step out is what's keeping you from running in the anointing. And the anointing on your life is excessive and overwhelming. And I see the dead being raised. I see all these signs and wonders and miracles. I see all these things happening in your life. I see the passion that you live with. I see the passion that the Father has given you, the desire of your heart to go deeper, wider, higher into Him. And I just feel that there's always something holding you back. Every time you get ready to go, something pulls you back. Every time you want to elevate, you want to go higher, something happens or something stops you from doing it. And I really believe that in the next couple of months, the Father is teaching you and showing you how to live in that place of authority, where you begin to take dominion over the atmosphere around you. When you put your foot down, you remind yourself, that place belongs to me. No other influence has authority. No other influence can come against or take off mine or hold on to something that they don't have place at. And I really just see the Father just beginning to show you in the Spirit who you are and how you begin to believe it. Because obviously in the years of training and education, there's a belief system that builds up in your soul. And the Father is slowly, over the last 2 years, have just broken that down, because we have to now believe completely new things. Completely different things is given to us for us to understand. In this season, the Father is giving new enlightenment, new understanding, new revelation to the ecclesia, and it's too much for most of us to handle, because it's so new and so fresh. And so for 2 years now, the Father has been sowing and trading into you a revelation, insight, knowledge. And it is going to continue over the next 10, 15 years. But for right now, the Father says, I'm going to begin to take you to places within the kingdom of heaven where you will be seated down. And I will personally be the one teaching you. I will personally be the one engaging with you, show you who you are and where you need to go. And that will begin to affect your body and your soul. And I really believe the Father has given you great inventions. And I believe that you need to go on a journey in your life where you patent these things and put it into fruition, so that He can begin to bless you with the multitudes of finances that you were always allocated to have. I don't believe that what you're doing right now is where all the money is going to come from. But because of what you're doing, you invented some things, and you showed it to me before, and it is ridiculously crazy. It's an awesome invention. I've never seen anything like it, and you should know that there's no one else doing what you do, using what you're using. And I really believe the Father has given you that pattern, has given it to you. Some of the portions might belong to other companies, but if you buy it from them, and you even design and create everything yourself, because those things can't be patented, if I'm not mistaken. The ways that the Father has shown you, the things that you can design and make yourself, you can own that entire thing. completely and utterly and sell it to every nation of the world. Now I know that it's a process, but this is just what I see for you, because it's walking with wisdom that's opened these doors. And yes, in the years you've been blessed financially because of what you do, and the Father is going to continue blessing you. As a matter of fact, I just see the Father opening doors because you're walking with favor. And yes, favor has been blocked and favor has been stopped just because there's always something holding you back. Yes, you're married into a bloodline that could literally physically destroy destiny, but in the same breath you have the power to align that bloodline, because it's actually not part of what she is married into. She's married into your bloodline, you're not married into her bloodline. And so the Father is going to begin to show you in the Spirit exactly what you need to do, because I can't do it, no one else can do it, you have to do it. And He's going to teach you how to do it, and He's going to show you exactly what needs to happen for you to fall into full fruition, because favor is yours. And His desire for you is to begin to walk in a financial blessing that you've always walked in. It's like you draw money to you. Business come to you, but it's slowed down over the last 6 months, and the last 2 years. It's slowed down, but in the same breath, something needs to change, and you need to be the change. And not that you're doing anything wrong, because you haven't been doing anything wrong. Matter of fact, if I look at your life, you've been elevated. You've been growing deeper, 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 and with more insight, more revelation, more knowledge. But something needs to change, and you're the one that needs to make the change. It's an understanding, a revelation, a position you find in the Spirit, and you stand up and elevate over the situations that's coming your way, because the Father wants to bless you, wants to increase everything for you and align you with what you're destined to be.
Thank you. Praise God.
Well, for some reason I have burned all 4,000 calories.
Thank you, Jesus.
I haven't been doing anything. Well, actually, I did a power pump class this morning. Oh my God, help me, Jesus. That is terrible. You guys know what that is? No one knows what that is. It's like an aerobic class, you just do light weights, thousands of repetitions. I do it with my wife on Sunday mornings. It's kind of fun. Anyway, that did not burn 4,000 calories. I just breathe every 10 minutes and burn 4,000 calories.
Yeah.
When I weigh 300 pounds. But I just want to remind you guys to constantly find yourself wanting to go deeper. Find yourself desiring more of Yahweh all the time. Now, I know that sounds like something you can just say, but you have to do it. You know, the takeaway gospel is over. Where the pastor tells you what to do on a Sunday, you don't listen to him anyway. You don't do anything during the week. Wednesday you come back, you just listen to all you hear, blah 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 blah. You go home, nothing changes, and you come back again on Sunday, and you feel like a Christian because you're going to church. Those days are over. Right? For you to grow and become what the Father's destined for you to be, you have to do. You have to do, and that's the Father's desire. It's work, 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 work.
Yeah.
And you're going to think, okay, that's it, I resign. I don't want to be part of this work thing. That's ridiculous. We live in a takeaway society. I just want everything now. And I can hear the tantrums that we as the church are throwing, tanties. But I really believe the Father wants us to elevate and grow in these things, and we cannot do it unless we engage. So even if you listen to the YouTube channel, if you go on Facebook and you listen to the messages that I've taught over the last 5 years, Ian Clayton, Justin Abraham, Grant Mahoney, Samantha, his wife, Stevie McGee, Jane Schroeder, Nancy Cohen, there's so many people, and I don't even know all of them, so I can't name all their names. But that's just the men and women that's spoken into my life, that I have a spiritual connection with, that I love, that's mentored me over the years. And you have so much out there, and every time I listen to something new, and my soul goes, this is from Satan, my spirit says, shut up, you fool, you know nothing. And my spirit says, over the next 5 to 6 weeks, we're going to engage into it, and I will change your mind. Because I don't know about you, but my soul's always wrong.
Yeah.
My soul thinks he knows stuff, but he just doesn't. He's been in charge for the first 19 years of my life. And that's before my spirit was born again, or born from above. And then he was still in charge for at least another 15 years of me being a spirit-filled, born-again Christian. Now that he's no longer in charge, it's only been 7 years, he doesn't like it. He thinks up all kinds of weird things. And I think, okay, this guy talks of himself in the 3rd, 4th, and 7th verse. Who are you, you freak? So we'll get there eventually. Okay. What is your name again, young lady?
Gina.
Gina. Okay. Yeah, I guess they say dynamite comes in small packages. And I just always just look at you in that manner. I just feel the Father has packed so much into you. Now, a lot of it hasn't been activated, but the Father in this time and season of your life, and I say time and season, although we live out of time and space, and where you are right now, the Father has packed excessive amounts of insight and wisdom, revelation. As I just see Him pouring into you, and in the Spirit, it's almost like you are going to pop. Something needs to happen. Something needs to take place. You want a manifestation. You want something to be revealed. You want some kind of a, how can I say, a sign, some kind of a wonder. Something needs to happen because you've been engaging so much. And the Father says to remind you that there is a time for everything. And right now, your time is to receive. Your time is to engage and have the Father pour into you as much as you can. There will be a time in your life where everything is just going to begin to flow out. And yes, you have been sharing testimony, and you've been talking, and you've been sharing with your friends and your family members, and some may frown at you and think you're crazy, but we're all crazy, and we'll survive it, right? But the Father wants to remind you that this is a time for you to elevate, and this is what the Father's doing. He's lifting you up. He's taking you into higher places, deeper, wider, higher into Him. He's giving you that place of occupation in Him, where you begin to understand that you live in Him, you move in Him, you have your being in Him, and everything you do, your business, your place where you get finances, your family, everything you do comes out of Him. And everything that's blessed, everything that should get aligned, that should be propelled, has to come from out of Him. And so I believe that as you start elevating and start operating out of the kingdom of heaven, He's going to begin to show you how to legislate the things that's already written for you into place according to everything that needs to be aligned in your life. I believe the Father wants to bless you financially, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, physically. I just see Him wanting to align your entire being. Not that it's not completely aligned. There is some portions out of alignment, but I see the Father wanting to bring you into full proportion in the Spirit according to what's on your scroll. So there's things that's going to be changing over the next couple of months, things that's going to freak you out a little bit because of the change, but it's because He's aligning you. So when you feel a serious change coming, don't bind and rebuke Satan. Immediately go into the court and praise God. Ask Him to show you and to reveal to you what He's aligning. So that could happen with anyone in your family. You need to be seriously spiritually aware of what's happening over the next couple of months. I look at about 5 months that the Father is going to be bringing this into fruition. Not in 5 months' time, but from now, 5 months. I just see Him bringing things into place, so there'll be a lot of change, a lot of alignment, a lot of kind of just movements that you might not like, and most of them you won't like, because you are a person of habit, if I can say. You're kind of not in a rut, but you the type of guy, the type of person that just does things every day in the same manner, because that's just how you do things. Anything outside of that order is no, this is not right, it can't be like that, but that's okay. But over the next 5 months, there's going to be things that's going to kind of throw you off a little bit. And don't let it bring fear to you, because it's not to bring fear, it's to bring alignment. The Father wants to propel you into place. So there's things in your life, I don't know how you are health-wise, but I just see the Father kind of bringing things into place, so that which is not in alignment in your physical body can just come into place. And then I just see the Father just wanting to bless you and wanting to show you His love. He really thinks you're amazing. He loves you. You're very, very precious to Him. I do see Him putting a cloak over your shoulders. You can ask Him what that is. He's not showing it to me, but I just see Him putting a cloak over you. He's putting the cloak over you. So it's not a saint of old. It's not one of the cloud of witnesses. It's not angelic. It's God Himself coming literally before you, and He's putting a cloak over your shoulder. A cloak's not a mantle. It's something. A cloak is something you can wear. It's almost like Joseph. He had a coat. It's very similar to that. It's something that's yours. Something that when you wear it in the Spirit, everybody will see it. It's not something you'll ever have to take off again. It's yours. And so the Father says that you've been elevated to a new place. And so what I give you tonight, what I'm clothing you in, will elevate your authority and dominion, not just in the natural, but also in the Spirit. So that could mean promotion in every area of your life. And that could be part of the alignment. Because even promotion right now will freak you out.
Okay. I received that.
Yeah. Yeah, who wouldn't be? I don't mind being freaked out by promotion.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we forget sometimes, but it's not man. As a matter of fact, man cannot promote you. Your boss cannot promote you, although he would think, well, I'm the boss, I'll do what I want to. But no, he cannot promote you. No man can promote you. You know, it's God that promotes you. Always God that promotes you. And if I look at my life for the last 14 years, I haven't worked for man. I was a personal trainer for a very long time. Before that, I was a personal trainer, but I was also the service manager or the fitness manager. So I kind of worked for the company, but I also kind of worked for myself. And then I went to Cape Town and started doing my own thing as a personal trainer. And I did that for about 10 years. And then Father took us into full-time ministry. And in the 10 years of working for myself, it was different because you know how many clients you have and how much money is going to come in at the end. But the promotion always came from him. And you know, when I stopped doing personal training, he said to me, I'm going to promote you. And from moving from personal trainer to full-time in ministry was not a promotion. Oh my God, it felt like a demotion and a punch in the face. With a little bit of heel in the you know, just crushing me. And I was like, this is promotion, Lord? I don't like it. You know, it was just crazy. Financially, it was nothing. And so slowly we had to grow into it. But that's our faithful Father. We think promotion is this massive blessing financially, but it could be for almost anything in life. Because His desire is to promote you. And when you promote a product, you put it out there. You know, so when He says, I'm going to promote you, He's just going to put you out there. And that could bring all kinds of exciting features to your life. Don't ask for love, because He will send you everybody that's unlovable. Don't ask for patience, because you'll have 4 kids. I say that, I've got 4 kids, and oh my God, they have trained and equipped me well. Okay, how you guys doing?
Good.
I know how much, we're not running out of time, you guys okay?
Yes.
Good.
Okay, what's your name again?
Heidi.
I know your name. Okay, Heidi. I think there's almost already been a lot of change in your life up to this point. Some not too exciting, but others really exciting. Spiritually, you've grown a lot. A lot of changes have happened in your spiritual understanding and perception, things that you understand, things that you know, things that you really had to set aside, belief systems that had to change. And you've been very faithful in allowing the Father to change it, to be propelled to a higher place, because it's been a desire in your heart to really just go higher and deeper and wider into Him. And He sees that, But the things that's already happened in your life up to this point that didn't propel you like you would have liked it to propel you over the last 6 months, has almost set you slightly aside. Now, I might be wrong, but this is just what I'm seeing. But the Father is saying in the same breath, there will be an elevation. Because in the natural, you will find that things starts following the spiritual. So what's happened up to this point in the spiritual have caused a lot of confusion in your body, in your being. So your spirit's understanding this stuff and loving this stuff, and it's changing your being, but your soul's like all confused and rattled, and your body is being affected by this knowledge and the stuff that you're getting in. And so it affects your natural habitat, if I can put that, your natural environment. But there is alignment. So the Father is bringing everything into fruition. I see over the next 2 months, I think will really just fall into place for you. You're also very stressful. You're a very panicky person. As just what I see in the natural, you like freak out about anything and everything that changes. And so the Father is going to bring you to a place of peace. I just see how He's literally just, things will bother you less than ever before. You're very, I don't know if it's depression or stress, but it could be both. And it's almost taking over a lot of what you do. You are always stressed, you're always freaked out, because there's not enough time, there's too much to do, and you feel that there's just too much happening in your life right now. And the Father just wants to bring you to a place of peace. And I see Him just almost like holding you to His chest. And then all of a sudden you start hearing that heartbeat, and that brings you to a place of rest. It's like He's just saying, it's going to be okay, you just need to relax, because it is causing an effect in your physical body. It's bringing you all kinds of stuff that you didn't have before, and it's freaking you out. And so, and it's because you're not at rest. Okay, so the Father will bring you at rest, and then you'll see how the things in your body that's gone wrong over the last couple of months will just come and fall into place. There is some things in your bloodline that's caused some unhealthy things to come into fruition into your body. And so that is going to be aligned because you're beginning to understand who you are in Christ. He's beginning to show you things, and you're beginning to change your yesterday to what it should be according to your tomorrow today. And He's propelling you into a higher place. So you're in a really good place with the Father. Matter of fact, you're in a good place in life. You might not see it right now to the full fruition of what I'm seeing it, but the Father's going to begin to show you exactly what it is. I see a lot of open doors for new things. What you're doing right now, it's almost, and this is just what I see, I mean, I know a little bit what you do, but it's almost like you've hit the pinnacle of where you're at, and so the Father wants to just, I just see that that's not the pinnacle, that there's a higher place. And I don't know what exactly is going to change, but there'll be a change and something that's going to propel you higher in the natural for financial breakthrough, for a deeper dimension of what the Father wants to bring into the natural for you. And that will also come from the level of spiritual insight that you're gaining over the next 2 months. Father's going to blow you with all kinds of heavenly things, which is pretty exciting. I believe that's the Father's heartbeat, to blow these spiritual insights and enlightenment into us. Especially right now, you know. When we begin to occupy our mountains, because that's something I see that the Father is busy doing with you even right now, that you're really occupying your mountain. You're beginning to understand the sphere of your rule, that's which He's given you in your life, where you're at right now, what He's pouring into you. So from now you might start stepping into your throne, where the Father will show you where you're going to sit. That will bring a lot of peace, a lot of rest. In your mountain there'll be a lot of harmony and resonance. A lot of the heartbeat of the Father, the echo of His voice that will bring you to a place of rest. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah. You guys still okay? And we've got a couple of people left. And I'm excited. I love this stuff. I love breathing God's breath into His people. And I want to remind you that it's never about the prophetic. You know, although the Bible talks about it being so important, it's really important, but you have to remind yourself that you are the one that can see the exact same things what I'm seeing. Yep. You don't need a word from anybody. You do not need anybody to prophesy over you. Is it nice? Yes, it's nice. You know, me and my wife, we are literally like prophetic word magnets. And we just walk past a meeting and they'll, excuse me, hey you, come here quickly. You know, it's like, I don't know why, but people just want to prophesy about it. It's not anymore so much because I kind of run away from it, but don't need. And I don't mind, don't misunderstand me. You know, it's nice, always nice to have confirmation. It's always nice when someone prophesies or someone has a word for me. And that doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's really nice. But we have to just get to the place in our walk with Yahweh where we don't want a word all the time. You don't go to meetings for a word. I've got people texting me, and I don't mind per se. I mean, one or two people, every now and then I can prophesy over. After a meeting, I'll feel I have a word for somebody, I'll go share it with them. But what I'm doing tonight, it's not something that I do all the time, you know. And it's not something that I will do all the time, because I'm a teacher, I'm a preacher. So even when I'm doing this, I still want to teach you. Yes. I want you to not just sit there and receive a word. I want you to engage in what's being said in the Spirit, because there's so much happening out there. I mean, the first 15 minutes, if you missed it, I would suggest you go back into it. But the first 15 minutes of this meeting was absolutely profound. Yes. And I was drunk, much drunk in it. But I know that in my spirit there was some seriously profound things spoken. Yes. So I would go back into it if I was you and just listen to it. Because Facebook has now allowed us to have these things live and available all the time. You know, I put it on YouTube because I've got a channel on YouTube, and there's all my teachings are there. There's about 600 messages on there already. I would urge you to subscribe if you haven't yet. But the Father's desire for us is to just go deeper and deeper and higher and wider into Him all the time, constantly, and allow Him to wash over you. And remind yourself that you can hear His voice. And of course His voice is infused in you because you're one with Him. You know, I don't have to talk to my hand. My hand knows what to do because my body is one with my head. How you guys doing? Okay. So what is your name, young lady? Kathleen? Yes, sir. So you're a farmer?
Yeah.
You said you're a farmer.
Yes. I'm not a farmer professional.
Okay.
Let's say I'm a gardener.
Okay, you're a gardener. Well, he was making a statement on your brown body. I'm thinking I have to climb into those cant tents to get brown. Otherwise I burn in the sun. But anyway. Great passion for the Father, and I see an extreme amount of wisdom just up to this point, what you've learned and what you've desired and what you've run after. You've been a Christian for many years, but the Father is about to open doors for you to show and align your being with all that which you're actually meant to be. Because of all the years that you've believed, it's never been to where you are today. It's never been to where you've made a decision in your heart to expel all that which the Father is available to you. It's like there was a lack of insight, a lack of teaching, a lack of revelation, and the Father is coming, bringing you to a place where everything is opening up because He wants to take you to a deeper place. Not that you're not deep with Him, but He wants to take you to a deeper place. He wants to take the religious perception, the religious understanding that you have and shake it off of you and just start pouring deep into you because He loves you excessively. As a matter of fact, there's an entire bloodline that needs to be aligned and propelled because there was so much meant to come in. There was so much more than what you've received up to this point was meant to come through the bloodline. But there were so many blockages right through the lives of those that you're connected with. And the Father is just opening that up. I just see it in the Spirit. It's almost like that, like there's, I don't know, sometimes, you know, I don't know anything about cars, but recently my lawnmower broke because there was a blockage in the fuel line. So I had to throw something in the gas, and that breaks open the fuel line, and it fixed the problem. It's almost like He's putting something in the bloodline. It's probably His light and His fullness, because that brings alignment, to clean the bloodline so that the fruition of what was meant to come through can come through in its full place. And I believe that you are that generation, or the one in that bloodline that will receive everything that was meant to come through it. And then that will be carried from generation downwards from where you are now. And I just feel the Father wants to open doors in your life and just remind you of who you are. It's almost like you have a great insight. You love Him, you know Him, but you've always known it had to be more. What you've experienced up to this point is just not enough. In your heart, you just want to worship harder, go deeper, find more of Him. But what I've been taught up to this point doesn't give you that opportunity. So the Father is just going to break down that systems of belief and just pour into you. And there's a lot of things that you're going to find changing in your life. Just the way you see things, the way you perceive things, just small little things going to change in your life. It's going to open massive gates, massive doors in the Spirit. And I do believe the Father over the next couple of months is going to teach you how to really live out of the kingdom of heaven and to legislate the things. You are a legislator and an oracle. So He's going to start teaching you how to bring that into the earth and how to speak only when He says speak. And when you open your mouth, you will find the fruition of His fullness and His glory to just come out, because there's much in what you have to say. As a matter of fact, I believe that when you actually do begin to speak as an oracle, the power and the glory that will come from your voice will be that which draws people to you. Not just because of who you are, but because of what you say. Not just so much in the words, but the Spirit that you say it in. Because you being an oracle and carrying the hardness and the fullness of Yahweh in everything that you do. And the Father is going to bring you to that place, and the fruition of that is going to just fall into place. And yes, there is a hardness in your heart, because you have, up to this point, I see a lot of hurt, a lot of broken relationship, a lot of, not physical beatings, but a lot of beatings from people around you. And the Father wants to heal you, because again, in your heart you would say, no one will ever know me. I will hide myself away, because every time I show my face, I get hurt. And so subconsciously you've hidden yourself, and no one really knows who you are. And the Father just wants to break you out of that little box, because there's excessive beauty, wisdom, revelation, and knowledge in who you are, and you hiding it away from the ones you need to minister to is Satan's massive trick to keep you from your full fruition. And I just see the Father breaking that wall down. Even as I speak, that wall's just broken down, and I just see that this little girl, and I don't want to say little girl, because last time I said something to a lady, I said, you're a pretty little girl, and she's like, I'm not a little girl, I'm a woman. I'm like, well, I bind you, Satan. But I don't want to say you're a little girl, but you're a beautiful young lady, and what's inside of you needs to come out. That's what the Father wants. He wants to bring that into fruition so you can become what He's destined you to be. And that broken heart's what's preventing everything from coming into full fruition. Amen? Exciting, right?
I have a little girl.
Hey?
I have a little girl.
You have a little girl? Yeah. I see a little girl. Yeah, definitely. You're his little girl, though. I have a little girl, let me tell you. Somebody touch my little girl, I don't care who you are, you shall die. Amen. Yeah. Okay. your name again, young lady? Tish. Tish. Got it? Okay. I see a lot of peace around you, a lot of rest, a lot of change. A lot of things has fallen into place for you spiritually, but not quite the way you have wanted to see it fall in alignment. In your natural life, I see a lot of things going all over the place, but yet you're okay with it the way it is right now. And the Father's saying that in this time of your life, in this season, in this place where you are right now, His desire is to take you to a higher place. His desire is to bless everything you touch and to constantly show you who you are in Him. Because I really believe that He wants to reveal to you a dimension of His love that you haven't walked in yet. I don't know what what your relationship with your father was, but He wants to make sure you understand that nothing you can do will change His love for you. As a matter of fact, He doesn't love you the way you understand love. He is love, which means nothing you can do can change the amount of love that He has for you. It's like He is pouring into you all of who He is. The full character of God is blown into you. And He wants you to have that revelation of the love that He has for you. So His whole being that's in you that exudes that love for you into place. And that is going to change all that you are. Because the love of God is what not just leads us to repentance, but the love of God is what gives us the fullness of the Spirit. In Ephesians it talks about that. And it's that revelation of God's love that's going to bring His Spirit into full fruition for you. You've desired to go into the heavens. You've experienced mild forms of it. But the Father is opening those doors. I see floodgates of spiritual portholes in your house, around your workplace, everywhere you go. Matter of fact, I believe that you will be a porthole for the kingdom of heaven. Wherever you go, He'll open up for those around you. And people that are spiritually aware will see it, and they will experience these places that you've opened up, and they will be able to go into it and experience the Father at new levels. I do also believe that the Father is going to begin to teach you the courts of heaven work, because you are called to be a chancellor in the courts of heaven. And we understand that's God's desire for all of us. But the Father is going to teach you how to work and operate in the courts. So I would say the next 7 months of your life is going to be intense training regarding the courts. And if I were you, I would get some books on, I'm sure you've probably read it already or have some of it already, but Robert Henderson has some easy to understand, this side of the veil, court understandings. Ian Clayton's got Beyond the Veil, court understandings and revelations that goes to a deeper place. The mobile court's key to everything you need to be working on in your life and things around you right now. The accusations made against you and also on your family side and your bloodline. There's a lot of things coming against you guys. It's really just been there always. That it's almost been like, okay, but you're beginning to realize and see that this is not okay. This should not be like that. We should change it. Something should happen. And so the Father wants to teach you how to operate as not just a son or a daughter in the kingdom, but also as a judge, and to begin to understand the power of your judgment and how that brings life to what you judge into place. Because that's the key of judgment, is to judge things into place. And I believe that the courts are going to bring you to that place. The Father will open your eyes, but in the same breath I say the Father will open your eyes, but we need to understand the Father doesn't open our eyes, right? Jesus doesn't open our eyes. The Holy Spirit doesn't open our eyes. Our eyes, it's like a baby's eyes. It needs to be trained.
Right.
Come on.
Right? You need to be looking at something
Good.
all the time
Yes.
for your eyes to be trained.
Yes.
And that's what a baby does. When a baby is born, first 20 minutes he can only see 12 inches.
Yeah.
That's basically from the mother's breast to the mother's face. That's it. And at about 5 weeks, he can see maybe 24 inches. You know, that changes.
Yes.
That's when he can, with the father will hold him a little bit further down, that's when he can see the father's face. But once he starts seeing things, he frames it. Babies are always looking around and then they stare. It's
Yeah.
outside of the milk coma they go into.
Yeah.
They stare, and that's what they do. They're framing what they see because they've never seen it before. They've heard the voice, but now they can see the face. So the first one that gets framed is the mother, right? Or whoever holds the baby the most. That face gets framed, and it's really a stare. And that's what the Father wants us to understand. For you to begin to see, you have to engage in the Spirit as much as possible. That's why reading Revelations, reading all the encounters and the engagements that these men of God had in the Word, reading the encounters, reading the things that's happening around them is going to enhance your sight. But God's not going to bless you with enhanced sight. It's not a gift. It's not the Father's, well, you know, you're my special child. I'm going to give you something. There you go, there's sight. You know, that doesn't work like that. It's something you have to train as you grow.
It's good.
Okay, and I believe the Father is going to bring you to that place in your walk where you're going to have excessive sight. That the spiritual realm will be as aware, that you'll be as aware of the spiritual realm as what you are in the natural realm. But of course, that will take a lot of work. It's not just going to happen. Well, you're not going to wake up one night and one morning you're not going to know where you are. Am I in heaven or am I on the earth? It's not going to be like Paul. Is this a vision or is this real? What's going on here? It's going to be a process because the Father wants you to understand the court. There's 10 courts. We've got the mobile court, which is the earth realm, and then we've got 9 other courts, which we were supposed to do tonight. I've got the notes open here. We've got a mobile court of angels, court of scribes. You've got the court of chancellors. You've got the court of the upright, court of the kings, court of the fathers, court of the judges, the court of the 70. You've got the court of the Lord. So there's other than the mobile court, there's 10 more courts that the Father wants to teach you within the kingdom of heaven, how to operate, how to work out of. So you can become basically all that you're meant to be in the earth today according to what is destined for you. And it's more than what you think it is, more than what's ever been spoken over you. As a matter of fact, I would go as far as to say that the Father has chosen you out of thousands, and He will elevate you to that position if you allow Him to. But you can also reject it, because sometimes because of what we believe or perceive ourselves to be, we can reject these things. But I do believe the Father has called you out, and He's going to begin to elevate you to higher places in the next, did I say 7 months? Okay. How are you guys doing? Now, I remind you guys that while I'm really doing all this and saying all this, whatever you want to engage that was spoken over anybody, you can engage into it. We have separated ourselves from each other because of our belief systems. Okay, but in reality, we're all one. You know, you say, well, you're only one with your wife. Well, if you live in Louisiana, everyone's your baby, everyone's your sweetie, everyone's your honey. And that was just the strangest thing for me to accept. And now I find myself doing it myself. Because in South Africa, you call your wife honey, sweetie, baby, and that's it. You do not call any man baby. That does not make sense, but I've got multiple amounts of men calling me baby. It's kind of weird, but I'll survive. But now I find myself calling out a woman, and I speak to this other guy the other day, I'm like, listen, sweetie, I don't know what you're talking about. And I say that, and I'm like, oh God, what am I doing? I've been a Louisianian. I'm a Louisianian. Help me, Jesus. No, I'm just joking. Okay.
I think that's called a Louisianian.
Louisianian?
Yeah. We're you know, Louisiana.
I lived in Chalmette, and they told me I was a Chalmatian. And I had another town called Violet. I'm glad I didn't live there, and then I'll be a violation. Morapari. Anyway. Okay. What's your name again?
Crystal.
Crystal. Okay. Crystal, you know, you've really blessed my family. You, of course, and Reggie, you guys are just incredible. I love you guys so much. There's been like an earthquake, you know, and that's what I just see. I see this massive shaking, extreme shaking. Like in the natural, it would just freak anybody out. But because you are who you are, it's rattled you, and it's still rattling you, and you don't show it, but. The Father says it's part of His plan. You say, well, this was Satan, this was that. Yes, Satan had part and hand in much of it, but really not to its extent that you can bind him or cast him out, if that makes any sense. But things that happen up to this point is really the Father telling you that it's time to go to the next level. I mean, because where you're at right now, nothing can prepare you for the next level. So in that shift from the one level to the other is where everything's kind of fallen and kind of brought you to a real shaking. But in the next, I wouldn't want to go as far as say 2 weeks, you would physically feel the alignment and the change when you step up into the next level, because everything you've traded up to this point will fall into full fruition. So whatever you've traded, whether financially, spiritually, socially, whatever you have given to the Father is about to be multiplied back to you for the next level. Now, you remember I shared an encounter that I had where I was stripped literally naked of all the things that I've gained over the last 7 years. That freaked me out. I couldn't understand why the Father would take what I've worked for so hard. And I believe you're kind of in that place where you're thinking, why are you taking all the stuff from me? But it's because you're going to the next level. Because then what happened is He multiplied everything back to me and said, well, I had to take it and give you the right tools for where you're going, because the stuff you had up to this point wasn't going to propel you into the next level. And so that's exactly kind of where you are. The Father's taking you into the next phase of your walk with Him, the next dimension of training. And it will be a high dimension of truth. So a lot of what you've known and what you've been taught up to this point is going to change completely. Basically, the things I used to teach 6 years ago, I don't even believe anymore. Yeah. Right? The things I taught in the beginning of spirit school, I don't even teach anymore because I don't believe it anymore. Because high dimensions of truth changes things. Now, that's not said quite right because it's still true, but there's a higher dimension of truth. So why would I keep teaching a lower dimension of truth if there's a higher, right? And so that's kind of what the Father is saying to you, is I'm going to take you to a place, and the things you knew and the things that you mastered in the previous level, you're not even going to believe anymore, because He's taking you to a higher place of truth. And that sounds weird, and you might not even understand it right now, but He will take you to that place in intimacy, and that will be key to everything He's about to do, because the next level is intimacy, fire, and dimensions. That's what I see. And I will establish you in the heavens. It's understanding the intimacy that He wants for you. Fire will also be a revelation and the deepness of the Father, because the Father wants to take you into that dimension of who He is in the kingdom of heaven, where He is an explosive dimension of fire. And within that place where He explodes like that, if you've been in that place before in the heavens, you see He is a multitude of fire. He's a consuming fire. He's a burning explosion. And that doesn't make sense to us, but when He does that, every created being in the heavens go into Him and get refreshed. And the Father is going to send you to actually abide there for a season, where He will just pour into you dimensions of revelation, understanding, and knowledge. Because again, you are a leader of leaders, and the Father wants to get you into the right place, spiritually into the right position, so that everything that's on your scroll can fall into fruition. Yes, there will be a financial breakthrough, and yes, everything you've desired in your heart will fall into place. Things you've seen in the Spirit that's not fallen into place yet, it's beginning to flow. The Father will send the right people to you, because it has to be the right people. And the Father says it has to be the right people because this is part of what's on your scroll, because there's certain men, certain women that will enter these doors that you have to align, that you have to speak and put into place according to what they're destined to. And the Father will always open the door for you. They will always desire to find more, to ask questions. That you'll see that doors will just open. People will share their lives with you like they have up to this point, but even in a greater dimension. And so the Father just kind of gets you to the place over the next couple of weeks where He will constantly align you with everything that He's pouring into you. Your soul and your spirit will be in alignment with each other all the time. And that will affect your body and will bring your body to healing, because you do still need healing in your physical body. And the Father is going to bring you to that full fruition. It's been a desire in your heart, and you've been amazed at what He's done up to this point through the things He's taught you. But there is even a higher dimension of healing available, and He's taking you through that process to get you to that place. Yes, He's going to bless your family. I see them knitting together to a greater dimension, higher heights, because there is miscommunication, but there's miscommunication in any relationship. But the miscommunication is because of different spiritual levels. And the Father is going to bring it into a place where things will be knitted together, and there'll be a greater dimension of understanding for both of you. And that will elevate everything the Father has promised, because the promises have been given over years, even years before you two were together. And you feel that, well, how's all these promises going to come together if you guys weren't even married yet? You were married to someone else. You were married to someone else. These promises were given for this couple, but that's not always the way the Father works. He can bring things together and elevate places and put things into fullness as He desires. And I believe that's what He's doing. So over the next couple of months, you'll see how things will begin to kind of cock into each other and start working as it's meant to. And the Father will just start bringing the blessing into His full capacity as He starts opening doors, and you'll just find things will just go easier and kind of fall into place. And I know you guys have been married for a long time, but it's still subconsciously two lives that has to become one. And I really believe that you are also in the process of making these two lives become one. And it might not be fully one as you desire it to be. And of course, you come in with one way of perceiving things, you come in with one way of perceiving things, and then it ends up being neither of the way you perceived it to be. And the Father is just going to bring that unity kind of back into place. Amen. Okay, Father, I just want to come before your throne, and I know that so much has been said, and I know that we are speaking into an atmosphere, we speak into a dimension, we speak into different realms, we speak into these beautiful lives in front of me, Father. But tonight I ask that you will open up every being in this room to just your full fruition, your dimensions, glory of fire. All of who you are, Father. Let's understand your blood. Let's understand who you are. Let's understand the covenants. Let's understand sonship, being daughters and sons. Let's understand all that you have given us and who we are in you, what needs to happen, how we need to become that which has been spoken over us even tonight, Father. Let's step into the places that you've made available for us. Father, as the ecclesia, there's much that needs to change, and I ask you in the name of Yeshua that you will open our hearts so that we can begin to walk in everything that was spoken over us tonight. Lord, I ask you that you will direct everyone in this room deeper into you, and let us be propelled into our destiny and purpose. And so the things that we need to begin to run with can be placed on our plate so we can begin to do what needs to be done. Father, we love you, we praise you, we honor and worship you. You're a majestic, majestic God. And we thank you in the name of Yeshua. Amen.